Yes, I think a little applause would do us well. I don't have to introduce the speaker because everybody had a chance to listen to this fantastic presentation you gave us in the morning.
Oh, thank you.
I have like 2 pages of notes from that, which I will cherishly put in my drawers and think about them many times, the planning media business that I'm responsible for. This is a time that will sort of round up the event, and I guess you have all listened to many different presentations throughout the day, so I guess you see what Randy was telling us in the morning in a perspective of other problems and ideas. So I believe that we're here in this room very well positioned to discuss the future of internet, the future of social media, the way social media and society as such, because there's no distinction. The social media is a sort of explanation or widening, broadening of society, or reflection of society, rather, I should say. That wasn't easy. So how that relates to business. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have my own questions, of course, and there is a number of questions that were sent to Randy, which we'll read and answer as many of them as possible. But most of all, the room here is entitled to ask questions. So, if you agree, I'll start with the questions, if there are any questions right now. If not, we'll sort of warm up in our discussion, our Q&A, and we'll be frequently asking you, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask questions. So, you have a question. So there is a lady with a microphone. Please introduce yourself and shoot with a question. Actually, I pointed you to the wrong direction. I'm sorry.
Hello, Maciej Gawroński, Bird & Bird Law Firm, but the question refers to Facebook Live. How successful is it?
Thank you. Wow, we're jumping right into insider questions here. One of my final projects that I did at Facebook was started an internal show within Facebook called Facebook Live. It was the vision was to kind of take the internal company blog in a new way, because we saw that the blog was getting 60 or 70 million people viewing every post. So we decided to make it a fun live video component. Anytime we launched a new feature, we would have the engineers sit in a studio and take questions live from people all over the world. Or anytime we had a special VIP guest like Katy Perry or Oprah Winfrey in the office, we would have them come and take questions from anyone in the world. So I think we grew that program from 0 people watching to millions of people watching in less than 1 year. And the final Facebook Live that I worked on 2 days before I had my baby was President Obama on Facebook Live. So that seemed like pretty successful to me, but I'll let you guys be the judge.
Thank you for the answer, and thank you for insider question.
Yeah, I like the insider question. Good homework.
Anybody else? Before I start with some philosophical one, okay, here there's a second row.
Hello, Randy. My name is Alexandra, and I'm direct marketing manager, mostly in digital. And one of my responsibilities is taking care of the second life of my 9 brands on Facebook. And of course, how to increase engagement rate of 9 different target groups. And maybe you could tell us what kind of new tools Facebook is going to launch to help people like me, digital marketers and direct marketers.
Wow, nine different brands online. That's quite a good job. You know, it's interesting because there's certainly things that I think Facebook is going to launch, but I think even more interesting are some of the things that third-party developers are going to be building on top of the Facebook platform. There's actually quite a few developers around the world, many of whom I believe are in this room today, who are building applications that that help marketers, that help businesses. For example, I know that there's a company called Wildfire based out of the United States that releases a lot of tools like this to help people who manage the pages of their brands and provides really great information and tools for them. So I'm sure Facebook will continue to innovate in this space, but I would say even more so for you to look out for, you know, the thousands and thousands of developers building on top of Facebook.
May I ask about methodology? Because we talk about Facebook, and from what you said, it seems that, from what you told us, it seems that the most important thing is conversation, a relation, the two-way relation that you can have with your clients. But, okay, we understand conversation. It's quite easy to imagine what that means. Is there anything else than that? Like graphics or narration or whatever that you could help us with?
I mean, I certainly think that having beautiful graphics on your page, you want to draw people in, just like if you had a store, you want the window design to draw people in. But what's going to keep people in the store and what's going to keep them interested is, you know, the information you're giving them and the dialogue you're having with your customers. So if you're just streaming an RSS feed of press releases onto your page, people aren't going to be very interested. But if people feel like they post a comment and they get an answer right back, or if you're posting really useful information to them every day, that's what's going to establish that long-term connection.
Do we need special part of the page or special place different than our business talking to the clients, for clients to talk to us, or should it be merged in a way that the clients would be just as important on the page, on a Facebook page, as us as a business?
Well, I think it's the responsibility of the business to encourage your clients to speak up. I've seen a lot of businesses will ask questions of their fans on their page. So they'll say, what do you think of this new product? Or what would you like to see from us in the next few months? Or what are your thoughts on kind of this topic overall? And those posts tend to be very successful and get a lot of engagement because it's the business proactively asking their consumers how they feel.
Is there any rule, like how many employees answering consumers' questions you need per 1,000 questions or something like that?
I don't
know. Because that might be a lot of work if you're a big company.
Yeah, I think there's actually a lot of companies that are out there solving kind of these customer support needs. I don't actually know the exact answer down to the number of people, but
so you can outsource your answers, but
you can outsource answers. You can also tap into the community to answer the questions for you. So there's a lot of companies out there who actually empower their most loyal customers to answer the customer service questions of other customers. And I know that's a growing market.
Fantastic. So we have yet another idea how we can do our businesses.
That's right.
All right. Any other questions from the room? Yes? Please, second row again. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, Konrad Goździor, Longtay Tax Studio, tax manager. There was a time Google tried to cooperate with Facebook. How you feel with that? You didn't take advantage of that, and you create new way of ad in the internet, and it was successful. But how was it the time when this possibility created for Facebook?
By the way, if I may, if you'd like to ask question in Polish, there's no problem. I'll do my best to translate it. So if you feel that would be easier, I'll be happy to help. And on top of that, if I may add one little thing, is Google Plus a big competitor and how it will impact the position of Facebook?
Yeah. So first of all, I think I'm not exactly sure that there were kind of like moments in time when it was like work with this company now or never, because I know for me personally, on my side of the business I was working on, we worked with Google quite a bit. I worked on election strategy, Facebook working with elections, so we used Google Maps to show people on Facebook where their polling locations were. In our response to the crisis in Haiti, we used, again, a lot of Google products. Google helped develop a missing person finder that we promoted on the site quite heavily. So in my department that I was working on, I worked very closely hand in hand with lots of technology companies. You know, perhaps in other areas of the business, there were opportunities to cooperate or opportunities to be competitive. I think in terms of Google+, it's interesting. I'm personally adopting kind of a wait and see with Google+. I think they've done some really smart things in terms of how you can group your friends and contacts into different circles, because you're right, you don't necessarily want to share the same exact things with your family as you do with your business coworkers. But I think we have to wait and see if it gets traction and momentum.
All right, thank you. And there is a lady in the second row which was asking for a voice. May I ask for a microphone to be passed? Thank you. Come on. We have so little time and so many questions.
It will be short. So my name is Veronica, and well, I will join Facebook in 2 weeks in Dublin. So since yesterday it's not confidential, so I can say how happy I am.
That's wonderful. Congrats.
Thank you. And
it's a great team out there.
For sure. And my question is, well, if we will see United States market, we can say that it's a very mature market. Mm-hmm. And my question is, how long it took to you, let's say, to educate clients, to help them to understand that Facebook is not only for sales, it's more for branding and for sales, but in more long-term investments. So how long it took as well to educate them that they should treat social media as a standard part of the whole marketing mix, and not only as a kind of special and extra actions?
It's an interesting question, because in some ways there are some companies who even saw that Facebook was good for that even before Facebook, the company, saw that Facebook could be a good marketing tool. And in other ways, there were companies that we kind of proactively needed to go out and talk to and convince of that. I know when I joined Facebook, it was just a US site for colleges. We touched on this a little, but I think the translation of Facebook into more than 70 languages played a huge role in opening Facebook up to brands and businesses and marketers around the world. And I think from there stemmed a huge opportunity. I also think that when Facebook opened the platform, which allowed any business or any developer to build their business on top of Facebook and the social graph, that was another real turning point for how businesses and marketers were able to see a real use case. So anyway, I'm excited for you to join the Dublin team.
Me too.
All right.
Thanks.
I hope you pay well.
Indeed.
Fantastic. Do you have any other jobs? Never mind. All right.
This is also a job interview for him.
Touching on the marketing side, there is a question from the internet, from our internet viewers. Do you expect Facebook to enter corporate social network space to become unified communication platform for companies?
Again, I don't think that's a space that Facebook is going to enter. I think that it's a space that's ripe for another company to build on top of the platform. I'm with the Facebook. I know I keep talking about the Facebook platform, but I think it's really important to understand that one of the core missions of Facebook is to focus on the core product that they have, and the Facebook platform enables anyone in any other industry to come in and leverage the social graph in order to make their business better. So the people who are building Facebook, they're not experts in what you would need inside a corporation, but another company that is experts in that can come and build that on top of the Facebook social graph.
Business-wise, does it help the business that Facebook is? Because you have to finance your operations, so of course you have to earn money. So is this going to be another revenue stream if that would be the more and more important thing for Facebook? The companies building their platforms on top of a Facebook platform for this unified communication.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for Facebook and good for the other businesses, but one of the myths I think that's out there is that in order to build on top of Facebook, everything has to live within Facebook, facebook.com/yourbusiness. And that's not the case. A few of the examples that I pointed to, the Wall Street Journal, Spotify, all of those take the social features of Facebook but incorporate them back onto those companies' websites. So Facebook isn't seeing one penny for that. But what it is seeing is that it's making the experience on the Wall Street Journal site or on the Spotify site better, and that in turn is better for Facebook users. But the Facebook platform is out there for any developer. It's free for them to use. They keep 100% of the revenue from it, and it can exist outside of Facebook.com.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Please? All right, there's a man on the stairs.
Last one. Randi, is privacy over?
Is privacy over? I don't think privacy is over at all. I think it's more important than ever. And I think that because each person is now a brand, that it's more and more, you need to think more and more about who you're sharing your information with. So I think it's really everyone's responsibility to learn all the tools that are at your disposal so that when you do share content online, you're sharing it with exactly who you want to share it with.
All right. I don't see another one yet. Oh, there is. There it is.
Hi, Randy. Magdalena Strzelczyk, Datera. I have a question. Earlier, somebody asked about unified communications, but actually, I'm just asking about as far as voice and streaming, voice and video streaming to Facebook, but not necessarily for business, but have you guys considered it adding to social, like particularly to, because you have instant messenger, but I have never seen anything voice or video streaming as far as a communication tool. And as far as I've seen in the last 2 months, you do a lot of changes. So are you guys considering adding it or anything like it?
Well, I know while I was on maternity leave this summer, I believe there was an announcement about Skype, a partnership with Skype, and the fact that in line with Facebook chat, you can now video chat with any of your friends around the world. I'm not sure if that exists just in the United States or if it's rolled out to all Facebook users, but I do believe that there is video chat coming your way if it hasn't already. It's there. Yeah.
All right, and another question from the internet. With all those changes that Facebook is undergoing, aren't you afraid of losing those users that came at the early stage because they will simply see it as a completely different platform that they wanted to be a part of?
Well, I think that's a bit of a loaded question because you're assuming that the changes are bad. And let me take you back all the way to when I joined. When I joined Facebook, it was only available at Harvard University. That's one college, a few thousand people. Then Facebook changed to add Yale. And all of the Harvard students went up in arms. How could you add Yale? You're polluting our network. Why are you adding this other school? But Facebook believed that it would be better because a lot of Harvard students had friends at Yale that they would want to connect with. And then when they added Columbia, Harvard and Yale students went up in arms, right? How could you do this to us? And when we added the 10th school, the 9 before it complained, right? But with every school that was added, more connections were added. Likewise, when Newsfeed was added, we had people outside the door of the company protesting Newsfeed, but saying that it was also ironic because they learned about the protest through Newsfeed. So every single time that Facebook has changed anything, people have been resistant to change and have complained, and then they've used the site more. So, you know, we're also, Facebook is in a place where they're innovating. They're building a brand new business that no one before them has ever built. And there's, you know, there's a fine line you walk between pushing the world forward through innovation and also listening to your customers. And when people are resistant to change, you always have to think, are they just complaining because they don't like change, or is there actually something here to listen to?
Right, that's really interesting. Change is a hard thing, so usually it starts with a protest, but then it's usually accepted. But if you're conservative, you just don't like changes at all, right? So it's a matter of your point of view. Another one from the internet. What do you think about the emergence of the private social network? Wikipedia, for example, is a global site, but many companies run internal wikis. Is there a place for internal social network in order to better control the data and draw a line between private and professional life?
Yeah, I mean, I think there certainly is a place for companies to run kind of an intranet, if you will, where if you want to send messages just to people within your company. But what I started seeing more and more over the summer at Facebook was people creating kind of private or closed groups within Facebook to conduct things like that. So even within the team that I was on Facebook, it was, you know, the Facebook consumer marketing team. We had our own group within Facebook that was closed, so you had to be on the consumer marketing team, and we would do all of our own internal communications through that. So I think that there are more and more tools within the site that enable that, but I can certainly see a situation where a company might want to have their own intranet.
Which will not be which you would not consider to be a waste of resources if it was created. All right. Let me see. Anybody else in here, please? Otherwise, you'll have to. Oh, there you go. Second row in the middle of the room. That's probably the worst place to pass the microphone. And.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Mark. Okay, Randy, R2Z?
Yeah.
What does it stand for?
Thank you. It's my initials. So
That's your new company, isn't it?
My new company. Thank you.
What does it stand for?
It's what are we doing, you mean? Okay, so we have a term in Silicon Valley called stealth, which is when you're building out your company and you get very secretive about it so that people are really intrigued and excited to hear what you have to do. So R2Z is in stealth mode, but I can give you a few hints of what we're working on. The first question that came through was about Facebook Live, about the show that I created inside Facebook. I really think that one of the trends we are going to be seeing is in live streaming video and in covering live events in a more social way. And I'm trying to address the question of what does the social television correspondent of the future look like, or what does the social newsroom of the future look like, and working with content companies to help them become more social.
Thank you. Seems very interesting. One more, if I can. Could you elaborate a little more about the Facebook deals? Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I'm representing the company that's in a direct competition with that thing. I mean, but that's a local company.
Again, there was so much news so unfortunately my 5-month-old son kept me from knowing every intricate detail that was going on at the company. I actually believe that Facebook Deals is no longer as of a few months ago, but again, I could be wrong, so I'm so sorry. So I guess congratulations to your competitor.
That's okay. All the best with your R2Z.
After we have social newsrooms, will there come social dentists and social surgeons? I have a question.
My father's a dentist. I think he would consider himself a social dentist.
No, but like social
Like while
dentist
you're
would be one that did not study medicine.
But like while you're getting a root canal, it updates Facebook. Like, ouch. Randy says, ouch.
Well, maybe something like this, but no, I'm pointing out into what's because the Facebook is one of the stages, so to speak, of information age revolution, which is changing also the face of traditional media. And some of my colleagues say that they learn so much from other people on Facebook or on Twitter that they question if it makes sense to pay for Reuters, for example. Maybe I over-exaggerated that, but that's something like this. So
I think,
will we see we were talking about social journalists, and you're mentioning social newsroom, and I'm wondering when we will go to a social surgeon.
I mean, there might be a social surgeon, but I would still prefer to go to one who's been medically trained, I think. No. What I do think, though, is that people are going to more and more, if they don't already, look to their friends for, who's your dentist or who's your doctor. I know when I first moved out to California, I had to line up kind of my whole new team of what doctor I was going to go see, who we were going to go, home shopping with, things like that. And, maybe gone are the days when I would open the phone book and look at an ad. It was entirely done through asking my friends.
All right. If I don't see next question here, I'll post another one of mine. And mine would be, let's imagine I have lots and lots of likes. Mm-hmm. So what? How does that translate to my business?
Is this you as the person or you as a business?
I have a company and it does something, produces something. And
because,
so how come those likes, which are so easy to do, and it's translate to products, number of products sold?
Yeah. It's an interesting question, and I would answer it very differently probably for each of your industries. So, first let's talk about it on an individual level. I work with a lot of celebrities, actors, public figures who, because of the number of likes, they're actually able to recoup for themselves bigger fees for appearances or part of the marketing budget of the movie that they're in, because they can release the trailer on their Facebook page instead of the trailer being released somewhere else and reach a lot of people. If you're running a nonprofit organization, I think those likes can be very easily translated into donations, especially around the holidays or around a time like that. And if you're a business, I think around a new product launch, Facebook is a great place to demo a new product, especially if you have a lot of likes, and kind of create initial buzz and excitement and maybe give your Facebook fans the first opportunity to buy that product. So I think it completely depends. I could name a dozen other cases in which it might help or that you might want to explore, but I think it depends on the industry. But